Hello, human. In a machine-shaped world, staying human is now your occupation. Welcome to Occupational Hazard. People often say the system is broken, but that's not true. It would almost be comforting if things were broken because broken systems can be fixed. But the truth is harder and more important. The system isn't broken, the system is optimized. Optimized produce exactly the outcomes you see. And once you understand the optimization, everything begins to make sense. Not in a cynical way, but in a clarifying way that restores your agency. If you ever wondered why institutions feel brittle, politics feels chaotic, technology certainly feels invasive, work feels unstable, platforms feel addictive, and society feels like it's drifting sideways, it's not because things are malfunctioning. It's because the incentives shaping the system has evolved faster than the system's ability to serve humans. If you're living through a moment where system logic diverged from human logic, and that's why everything feels off. Let's start here. Systems behave according to their incentives, not their intentions. If a platform's incentive is engagement, it will show you the content that keeps you there the longest, even if that content harms your attention, your mood, or your worldview. If a political system's incentive is winning elections, it will reward outrage, division, and conflict because those drive turnout. If economic systems incentive growth, it will prioritize speed, scale, and efficiency even when that speed outpaces human well-being. If a company's incentive is quarterly performance, it will prioritize short-term results even when long-term trust erodes. What you see as dysfunction is often functioning as designed, just not designed for you. Let's give shape with some actual data. Pew Research reports that trust in institutions, government, media, education, banks, technology companies, it's all at the lowest point in over 50 years. This collapse in trust isn't random. It's a predictable outcome of systems optimized for incentives that don't align with human beings. Go figure. Research on the attention economy shows that anger spreads 6 times faster on social platforms than calm content. So if the platform rewards speed, it will amplify anger, not because it hates you, but because anger performs better. Political scientists at Stanford and MIT have documented that misinformation spreads more rapidly, not because it's persuasive, but because it's optimized for virality in algorithmic systems. The system isn't broken, it's doing exactly what it's rewarded to do. And once you see the incentives, you see the patterns. You see why the news feels like an emotional whiplash. You see why everything is urgent. You see why negativity seems louder than truth. You see why work feels precarious. You see why identity feels unstable. You see why the world seems to be reorganizing itself around something other than human flourishing. Because it is. For the last 20 years, systems have been shaped by engagement incentives, political incentives, financial incentives, algorithmic incentives, technological incentives, and very rarely, human incentives. Here's the subtle emotional hazard. When you don't understand the system's incentives, you blame yourself for the system's outcomes. You think you're distracted because you lack discipline. No, the system is optimized to fracture your attention. You think you're uninformed because you can't keep up with the news. No, the news cycle is optimized for speed, not comprehension. You think you're burned out because you're not tough enough. No, work systems are optimized for output, not your sustainability. You think you're polarized because society is falling apart? No, political incentives reward division. You think you're anxious because the world is confusing? No, the world is optimized to be overwhelming because overwhelmed people stay online longer. This isn't self-help, this is system awareness. And when you start to see it, the entire emotional landscape can change. Here's the mirror moment, the moment where the world can suddenly sharpen into view. You're not the problem. The mismatch between human needs and system incentives is the problem. You were never meant to behave like an algorithm. You were never meant to respond instantly at all hours. You were never meant to digest a fire hose of information. You were never meant to carry the emotional weight of every global crisis in real time. You were never meant to navigate the institution optimized for metrics, not meaning. Your exhaustion makes sense, your confusion makes sense, your frustration, it makes sense. The system wasn't designed to break you, but it also wasn't designed to support you. It was designed for its own incentives. And here's the important part, the part most people never reach. When you understand the incentives, you stop feeling powerless, because systems look chaotic from the outside, but they're predictable once you understand what they reward. The incentive explains the behavior explains the outcomes explain the emotional experience you're having. This is the beginning of cognitive liberation. Let's make this real with a few examples. So, why does political content feel extreme? Because moderate perspectives don't generate engagement, and engagement is the metric of success. Why does your workplace feel unstable? Because organizations reward adaptability to shifting markets, not stability for you. Why do platforms feel addictive? Well, because attention is monetized and addiction increases attention. Why do you feel like you're constantly behind? Because acceleration is rewarded and we humans are slow. Why does everything feel fragmented? Because systems reward optimization, and optimization atomized complexity into smaller, disconnected pieces. Once you start following the incentive, the world stops looking irrational and starts looking engineered. So, what is the meaning of all of this? If the system isn't broken, that means you aren't broken either. When you stop thinking everything is messed up and start thinking everything is optimized for the wrong goals, not my goals, you regain your footing. You stop drowning in confusion. You stop taking outcomes personally. You stop feeling like the world is unraveling, and you start to see the structure beneath the chaos. And understanding the structure is the beginning of strength. Agency does not come from trying to fix the system. Agency comes from trying to understand it. When you can see the incentive, you can predict the behavior. And when you can predict the behavior, you can separate yourself from it. When you can separate yourself from it, you can choose your response. This is the new literacy. System literacy, incentive literacy, human agency literacy. Not because understanding magically makes life easier, but because understanding is stabilizing. Clarity replaces confusion, pattern replaces chaos, meaning replaces despair, and from meaning comes agency. True agency, the kind that begins inside you, not inside the system. So here's the invitation. If this episode brought you any clarity, stay with us. If it made the world feel a little less random, I hope you join the mission. If it helped you see some of the structure behind the noise, share it with someone who needs the clarity. The system isn't broken, it's optimized. And understanding that is the first step towards reclaiming your agency in a world that wasn't designed for human beings, but it can be redesigned by them. More hazards ahead, more truth ahead, more clarity ahead. Stay human. The future of work isn't something that has to happen to you. It's something you can prepare for, learn through, and participate in. If today brought you any clarity, stay with us. And when you're ready, explore the skills that give you the agency in a machine-shaped world. More hazards coming. Stay human.